Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to welcome you all to the Thursday, November 7th special meeting public works session of the Portsmouth City School Board. We now call this meeting to order. As you please stand now for a brief moment of silence. If you allow me to lead you in a pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated.
Bless you. Bless you. Bless you.
The mission of the Portsmouth Public School Division is to engage all students in learning that will foster academic excellence and responsible citizenship. Agenda item 2.5 is our attendance. Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Atkinson,
Here.
Mrs. Boone,
Here.
Dr. Cotton,
Present.
Mrs. Futrell,
Here.
Mrs. Hines, Mrs. Shoemake, Mrs. Thomas,
Here.
Dr. Whitaker, Dr. Patillo.
Present.
6 members present.
Thank you so much. Before we approve the agenda for tonight, we do have one amendment to make. I ask our Vice Chair to make that motion at this time.
Yes, Chair. I would like to make a motion to move item 3.1 and make that item 4.4.
We do have a motion. You have a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Futrell. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote. Madam Clerk.
Ms. Atkinson,
Yes.
Mrs. Boone, Dr. Cotton,
Yes.
Mrs. Futrell,
Yes.
Mrs. Thomas,
Yes.
Dr. Patillo.
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you so much. Agenda item 4.1 is our WHRO report for educational services. And Mr. Bert Schmidt is not here, but we do have
Mr. Elmer Seward.
all right.
WHRO state.
Let's see. I didn't see Bert out there.
Thank you. Chairman Patillo, members of the board, Dr. Bracy, I appreciate you giving me a few minutes this evening to speak to you. As Dr. Patillo indicated, Bert Schmidt, who's the president and CEO, would normally be doing this presentation, but he has a virus and he's decided not to share with you all.
Appreciate it.
Tell them we said thank
I'm sure everyone is appreciative. My name is Elmer Seward, and I'm the Vice President of Education Services at WHRO. And WHRO is unique in that it is actually owned by the 21 school divisions in the Hampton Roads region. Portsmouth Public Schools is one of those 21 school divisions that owns the license to WHRO. So on a 2-year rotating basis, we go to every one of those school board meetings, and we give a report on the services that we provide and the opportunities that they provide for teachers and students in the school division. So what I'd like to do is show you a brief video that outlines all of the education services that we have, and then I just want to follow up with a couple of comments. So let's go ahead and show the video.
WHRO stands out as the nation's sole public media station owned by a collaboration of 21 school divisions. This distinctive ownership model places education at the heart of our mission, influencing every aspect of our work. Our team of educators is committed to offering students, teachers, and families innovative, free, high-quality programs and services. One key service that WHRO offers is eMedia VA, Virginia's leading digital content repository. With nearly 100,000 free, top-quality instructional resources, eMedia VA provides educators and students with videos, interactive tools, games, lesson plans, images, and more. This platform is designed to enhance personalized learning and make classroom experiences more engaging. For our youngest learners, WHRO offers exciting educational activities to spark their imagination. Our 3 education vans visit elementary schools with programs tailored to Virginia's standards of learning, covering literacy, numeracy, scientific investigation, and technology. We also support parents and caregivers, ensuring children are prepared for kindergarten and set up for success in their early school years. For secondary educators, WHRO provides a catalog of 27 award-winning, customizable online courses and digital resources. These media-rich SOL-aligned courses are designed to integrate seamlessly with various learning management systems. They offer flexibility for face-to-face, flipped, blended, and fully online teaching environments, enriching lessons with engaging content. At WHRO, we celebrate student achievements through competitions that showcase their talents. The Great Computer Challenge, for example, gathers school teams from across the region at Old Dominion University to tackle real-world technology problems. Another highlight is our regional spelling bee, where middle school champions compete at WHRO's studio for a chance to advance to the Scripps National Spelling Bee. The local competition is recorded and aired on WHRO each April. Elementary students also have an opportunity to shine through our PBS Kids Writers Contest. This competition invites young writers to craft and illustrate their original stories, fostering creativity and critical thinking. Our Student Advisory Board reflects our commitment to student engagement. This group of high school students offers feedback on WHRO's content and has opportunities to create their own, influencing our online courses and e-media VA resources. We're equally devoted to supporting educators through our professional development programs. Our workshops and training sessions provide teachers with cutting-edge strategies and tools, empowering them to inspire and guide their students effectively. Visit WHRO's education webpage to learn more about how these amazing free materials, programs, and resources can benefit you. At WHRO Public Media, we're proud to partner with our local school divisions and the Virginia Department of Education to shape the future of education one student at a time.
So as the video shows you, there are a wide range of education resources we have for students and teachers, parents, school divisions to utilize. In this report that you have in front of you, we issue this annually, and it gives you more detail about each of those services. And this report is distributed to each of the school divisions, but it's customized for each school division. So within the report, in the blue text, you will find information about how Portsmouth City Schools have utilized some of those resources. And as you're reading through this, you'll find that Portsmouth City Schools have utilized the resources on a number of instances. I know that you all use the online courses for your online program. On page, let's see, I think it's page 5, you can see there's a lengthy bit of information about the education vans that have come out to different locations in Portsmouth, run educational programs, distributed books to students. On page 6, you can see the number of teachers who've been involved in professional development through WHRO. Page 11, I want to point out, it's actually 12. Page 12, this is unique to Portsmouth at the bottom of the page. Your school division approached us and said, could we get some of the videos, some of the shows that you show on WHRO to put on our local school network, not network, but our TV show, TV station. I'll get it straight. And so we worked with the providers of those shows, and we came up with a number of shows that we could provide to you all to run on your local station as well. And that's something we've done for the last couple of years. So you can look through all of these items at your leisure, but I'd like to point out on page 13, which is something that you might be interested in, each school division contributes around $3 per student to be a member of WHRO. And what we try to do is give you a breakdown on what your return on investment is as a member owner of WHRO. And you can see that for Portsmouth, we have estimated that you get $9.60 worth of services for every dollar that's invested. It's a pretty good investment. I can't say that I'm getting any kind of investment, return on investment like that from what little money I have put away. I would be glad to take any questions that you have. We're grateful to have the opportunity to talk to you, and we're grateful that you are one of the member owners of WHRO. Questions?
Thank you so much for coming again, Mr. Seward, and we do have Ms. Thomas for a question.
Thank you, Mrs. Seward, for your presentation. Regarding the Student Advisory Board, I see here in the report that there are 22 students from 6 school divisions. How many students on that advisory board from Portsmouth?
You know, I don't know the answer to that.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I don't, we have, the education department is broken up into 2 teams, and the other team manages the student advisory board, but I can get that information for you.
Sure. Do you think we have representation from our student or just not sure?
It's possible.
Okay.
In fact, I think you might,
Okay. Thank
but
you.
I can't say for certain.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Any other questions? Thank you so much, sir. Next, we have agenda item 4.2 is a presentation on the Region 2 Recovery School Steering Committee progress update from Dr. Angela Flowers. Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Podium.
Good evening, Chair Patillo, Vice Chair Atkinson, board members, and Dr. Bracy. This evening, I will update you on the continued developments of Region 2 Recovery School Steering Committee's progress. The steering committee is comprised of leadership from 5 Region 2 Tidewater area school divisions who have committed to exploring a recovery school. These divisions include Chesapeake, Norfolk, Portsmouth, Suffolk, and Virginia Beach. Each of the 5 school divisions have dedicated to the collaboratively developing all components of a proposal to present to our respective boards for both information purposes and action prior to January the 31st. As this school is not a recovery school for a single city or a single school division, decisions are being made by the collective group of leaders of the 5 school divisions represented on the committee. Although Virginia Beach is serving as the fiscal agent as determined by the General Assembly, they are among 5 who have input in the planning of the Regional Recovery School. As the work is in progress, my presentation tonight will provide a 30,000-foot view of the details and the work that we have been working on. The General Assembly appropriated $1.5 million to be shared equally between Loudoun County and Virginia Beach City schools to be used as noted above. $500,000 each for year 1 for planning and $250,000 each for year 2 for planning and implementation of a recovery school. Virginia Beach City Public Schools will serve as the fiscal agent for our Superintendent's Region 2 schools, and the funding is contingent upon December 1 planning and implementation updates in each of the 2 years. This year, the project coordinator will work with the Virginia Department of Education to ensure the first update is completed by December 1st. In providing this funding, the General Assembly has signaled their support for the need for recovery schools. Delegate Ann Farrell Tata championed our funding, and 2, the governor has signaled the same with Senate Bill 726, which specifically requires school boards to create policies and procedures for opioid overdose prevention and treatment in schools. Governor Youngkin was quoted regarding a series of bills to combat the opioid epidemic. Beyond the General Assembly funding, the Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority offers localities and regions several opportunities for funding, which I will introduce later in this session. What I will not present in this update is budget information, as the budget is in active development now. I will provide a second update in December should the board invite me back. And in that session, I'll be able to provide more information about the budget. On this next slide, it is the steering committee's timeline. Using General Assembly funding from our one-year planning grant, a part-time project coordinator began working with us early in August. Dr. Bracy and I participated in that meeting, and from there, the project coordinator formed a regional steering committee to plan for the Region 2 Recovery School, and a timeline was agreed on. And as you take a look through, I'll give you just a brief overview of what's there. In the first segment of the timeline, you'll see the committee held its inaugural meeting in August, and we've met each month since then to plan and coalesce around planning all elements of the Regional Recovery School. You'll also see a note of the Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority. This term is also in the language of the General Assembly, which advised schools to seek the funding to further fund the recovery school. Such funding is complex as it represents our $1 million and multiple settlements assigned to the state via the Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority for distribution. Our project coordinator has attended multiple workshops, webinars, and had one-on-one meetings with the Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority, which I'll share more about this shortly. And the second segment, which is where we are now, I'm just providing you all an update, and then I'll offer another update in December about the budget should I be invited back. The third segment, which is February, is contingent on the board's approvals from the 5 participating school divisions. If approved, participating superintendents will hire a program coordinator to continue the detailed planning of opening a recovery school. The current project coordinator will gradually release responsibility of the new program to the new program coordinator. And in the fourth segment, which is March to May, additional hiring of clinical staff occurs, and in June, a teacher and a teacher assistant will be hired as the final planning for an August 1 opening. So it is a very aggressive timeline, a heavy lift that we've been working on. Now I'll take a moment to highlight the progress that the steering committee has made thus far. We partnered with Chesterfield Recovery School, which is the first to receive General Assembly funding and the first recovery school in Virginia, and they opened their doors 3 years ago. Chesterfield welcomed us and gave us the opportunity to come and tour the facility and meet the teaching staff and the clinical staff and see how the students are faring in the school. So it was a good opportunity for us to learn that, as well as learn more about the operation of a recovery school. And this next slide, in collaboration, you'll see our statistics. In collaboration with Virginia Beach City Public Schools, Planning, Innovation, and Accountability, the steering committee added to the formal program proposal, which will be provided to each one of our boards in January, research which supports the recovery school concept and a rationale for a recovery school among the 5 participating cities. Here you will see by school division a compilation of 2023-24 discipline data and drug and alcohol-related referrals. As you view this data, recognize the size of each district as one factor which impacts the variance in numbers. For example, Virginia Beach City Public Schools has 14 middle schools, while Portsmouth Public Schools has 3. The next slide is some additional data, and it may catch your attention. Pictured in this interactive map, you'll see the research from Virginia Commonwealth University illustrating the impact of the opioid epidemic on Virginia localities. Impact is measured by lost labor, health care, and crime. The per capita figure shows cost per person divided by the total population. In ascending order, Virginia Beach comes in at $473 per capita, Chesapeake at $500 per capita, Suffolk at $696 per capita, Norfolk at $983 per capita, and Portsmouth tops the list at $1,756 per capita. So to breathe life into the school and to bring it closer to a reality, the steering committee, over several face-to-face and virtual and one-on-one meetings, used a process to contribute names for each school division represented and reached consensus of a name, as you see here. We came up with the name Hope Harbor Center, and the name reflects the symbolism of the safety of a harbor and the hope for recovery for each student who will attend. Going forward this evening, I will refer to the recovery school as the Hope Harbor Center. Hope Harbor Center will be housed in a Chesapeake City Public Schools building, the Educational Service Center located at 369 Battlefield Boulevard, South Chesapeake, Virginia. Chesapeake City Schools will provide classroom and office space for the Harbor Hope Center, lowering costs of our recovery school program. This proposed site currently houses CSEP on the second floor, and on the first, adult education and the Department of Technology. The Department of Technology will move out of the building in March, and Hope Harbor Center will occupy several spaces vacated by them. Having a site away from the traditional high school has multiple benefits for our students who will participate, and chief among them, minimizing the stigma associated with the recovery. So another benefit also is that Chesapeake is a central location in proximity to the 5 participating cities. And in mileage, it would be 11 miles from Norfolk Public Schools, 11 miles from Portsmouth Public Schools, 28 from Suffolk Public Schools, and 14 from Virginia Beach. Early work of the steering committee involved defining the purpose of Hope Harbor Center. If you don't mind, just take a moment to review that. The steering committee recognizes recovery is a nonlinear process, and some students will remain at the center through graduation, while others will transition back to their home schools. As I continue with the slide deck, the purpose will be further illuminated. Similarly, the steering committee created a mission to drive the work. The committee recognizes, as we hope you do, that once the school is approved by our boards and a program coordinator and clinical staff are hired, it is important Harbor Hope Center staff will work collaboratively to hone this mission statement. After all, a mission statement is what the staff must be willing to go through to bat for the student, staff, and our Harbor Hope Center. The Harbor Hope The Harbor Hope Center Planning Committee dedicated planning time to developing goals and objectives for the program. On this page, you'll see the 5 goals of Harbor Hope Center. And take a moment to read them, and then I'll give you an example of what an objective would look like. One of my slides is missing. I do apologize, but I will go on and tell you one of the objectives. So one of the objectives is the Harbor Hope Center will ensure students in the program receive a rigorous academic curriculum to earn their high school diploma or GED, and then broken down, it states that the students will graduate from their home school as measured by individual diploma attainment, attain a GED where graduation is not a viable option as measured by GED attainment, or reintegrate back to the home school with a plan for graduation and a post-secondary plan, or graduate with a post-secondary plan. Okay. In a moment, I will present you with the clinical and academic components, but first, here's the big picture of the 6 positions which the Harbor Hope Center Steering Committee will propose and present in the final budget. Job descriptions unique to the Harbor Hope Center have been created by Virginia Beach City Public Schools Human Resources Department and the project coordinator, except for the 2 clinical positions. The project coordinator is working to engage Chesapeake Behavior Integrated Health and creating these with the request of Chesapeake Behavior Integrated Health. And they will oversee and staff those positions. The academic classroom will blend student grade levels and abilities and will tailor programming to individual student need based on one or more of the components which follow as I present. I hope that you'll be able to recognize that the students may be concurrently enrolled in more than one of the 3 components. For example, a student may be enrolled in an MOP, which is the multi-division online platform, while also being enrolled in a credit recovery program. So the first component and primary mode of instruction is the MOP, which is, again, the multi-division online platform. Students will be enrolled in Imagine Learning, a state-approved MOP, which operates on a 4x4. Students may take up to 8 courses in a year, and although 100% asynchronous, students will work at Harbor Hope Center in a face-to-face classroom with a special education teacher who will serve as the assigned mentor, and students will have access via email, phone, or video to the course instructor. Another component of the instructional plan meets the needs of students who previously failed a course. Credit recovery students will have the opportunity to retake a course asynchronously, again under the face-to-face facilitation of a special education teacher who will serve as the assigned coach. And lastly, Harbor Hope Center will offer a general education development, or GED, for those students who given academic progress and age are unlikely to achieve a standard diploma. The GED program will be developed and modeled after that of Chesapeake City Public Schools. Compared to a traditional school, counselors at Harbor Hope Center proposed clinician is based off a clinical team and can provide more focused and dedicated counseling and case management services using a true multidisciplinary approach, integrating peer support with evidence-based clinical practices. The clinical approach will be available to support students and families year-round. Like academics, the steering committee envisions both a flexible, interchangeable, and individualized schedule for academics and clinical components. Students at Harbor Hope Center will participate in 1 to 2 30-minute individual sessions per week with an assigned licensed clinician and will, as need arises, be able to assess clinical supports more frequently. In addition, all students at Harbor Hope Center will participate in daily groups and diverse approaches to recovery, including psychoeducational, mental health, activity-based programming combined with discussion and processing components. Students and families will also be linked to local recovery and mental health community resources. The evidence suggests that a peer recovery specialist can help enhance treatment motivation and engagement, improve treatment retention, boost self-efficacy, and reduce recurrence rates. A peer recovery specialist is an adult who has recovered from substance abuse, whose life experiences are impactful in supporting students in recovery. With that being said, students will also participate in 1 to 2 30-minute sessions per week with a peer recovery specialist. What you see here is how the students will get to school. We have worked in Portsmouth with Mr. King, who has provided us a preliminary budget. But each division examined the framework for Harbor Hope Center and developed a transportation plan unique to the respective division. Costs associated with the plan will be shared when the total budget is complete and presented. The Virginia Opioid Abatement Authority was formed to oversee the distribution of the settlement funds from drug manufacturers, distributors, and dispensers. Nationally, these funds represent the largest settlement of any settlement to date, and said funds will continue through 2039. The Abatement Authority offers 3 types of distinct grants. The use of any of these funds requires the state and locality to show a direct nexus to opioids. So in this case, a recovery school is one such use of these funds, and the Harbor Hope Center Steering Committee is working with their localities to request direct funds to support the startup of the Harbor Hope Center. I've already reached out to our connection here in Portsmouth, and as it stands, the city manager his one concern was if we were going to make this mandatory for students or if it was going to be voluntary. So I made sure that I cleared that up with him. So we're still kind of waiting, but they're on the hook right now. They're interested, but they have not committed. So work continues in progress, and here I have highlighted the areas which the steering committee will complete in our next session, which is next week, and we'll present this information to you in December. I'll make sure I share with Dr. Bracy first. And in these areas in which I will update Dr. Bracy, so you can take a moment to review that. But the budget is the biggest piece right now. We will be asking for the superintendent's estimation of needs for the budget, but as it stands, it only looks like we'll need the $20,400 for the transportation plan. And here are our next steps. As noted, I'll return to you in December for a final update in the workshop before each division presents for information and action in January. If approved in January, we'll adjust the budget should any of the 5 school divisions choose not to participate, and we'll move forward with hiring a program coordinator and staff so that that the planning work of the steering committee and the project coordinator can transition into our next steps. And just here, just to put a face on it, we want you to know, the steering committee wants you to know that these are real people. We are working to save lives of students and make sure that they feel safe. The recovery school is voluntary. It's not something that we're mandating that a student go to. So we want to make sure that we have a safe place where they can learn and be successful. At this time, I am prepared to take any questions that you may have, but please remember this is the 30,000-foot view. We still have a lot of work to do, and this is basically what we're putting together for the final proposal.
Thank you so much. The only question I have is maybe to reassurance. When this was signed off by the governor, it was requiring city and community participation to pay for it, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and of the money that was appropriated is only for 2 years?
That has already been given us for the 2 years, and that's been given to Virginia Beach City Public School. Our project coordinator, Dr. Saltner, is working on other avenues of acquiring funds, and I'll be able to report more on that as the work continues.
But just so we can have some forethought, being that the General Assembly only approved a 2-year period, then it's safe to assume if they don't approve anything else, then the school division has to come up with a bigger investment, correct?
So I would say that we would have to come up with something, but the thought is that we will be working with the health department, because behavioral health, because they have access to those opioid abatement funds. And that money is available for many years. So as we continue to work together, the ask was for the first year $20,000 from behavioral health through the abatement funds, and for the additional 5 years, for 5 years following, $40,000 each. As the budget is built, I'll be able to provide more information about that.
Thank you.
Yes.
Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. So regarding the regional statistics, are they gonna break that down, because they have it all combined for drug and alcohol? And I feel like there should be detailed data for if a student has a referral for drugs or if a student has a referral for alcohol, because when you treat in drugs and alcohol, that's two totally different things. So was that the recommendation of the committee, to have that data combined?
That's how they just asked us to pull that SBAR data for alcohol and drug use, so yes. But the program is not just for drugs, it is for alcohol addiction as well. And if you would like a breakdown of our data, I can definitely send that out to you.
I just would like to know, like, you know, what our students, if we have more students that are alcohol referrals, if we have more students that are opioid or drug related referrals, I think across the board, like, that should be separated. But my second question is, I think it says something about legal, that, and there's an upcoming, I think it says, explore with legal necessary waivers to policy and or code. So that go on a school level to where, let's say we have a child that's an addict, do they not get a referral for expulsion? Do we say, hey, this is a good recommendation for, you know, the recovery school? Is that what that language is looking like?
So right now, we have not really delved deeply into the policy. The policies that we have been told to explore are the policies around expulsion, but more so an understanding that we're not going to expel a student who chooses to go into the recovery school. We would work with them, and if they have a relapse, then we would make sure that they get the support that they needed from the clinicians. But expulsion isn't something that we are exploring right now, if that makes sense.
Okay, and then is there any accountability piece for the parent? Because I know generally what happens if a child has drugs, alcohol all the time, then, there starts to be, the parent starts to get looked at. So is there a accountability piece for the parents in this recovery school, or no, it's just the focus on recovery for students?
Right now, the focus is just on the student.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Those are good questions, but I will definitely pose that in our next meeting. We have a meeting next week.
Thank you.
Mr. Shoemaker.
Yes, I have a quick question about the level of care, and you probably went over that. I was late, my apologies. But are we doing like, because they had like 3.7, 3.5, 3.1, 2.5 levels of care. Do you know what types of level of care that we're providing?
No, that we have not discussed that. That's going to be discussed when the clinical staff gets brought on, because they're going to do more detail. Like I said, we're at the 30,000-foot view, so we're just trying to frame it and put the proposal together, hoping that the 5 divisions can come together and fund and staff the coordinator of the program. And then once the coordinator is hired, then they'll hire the clinicians, and that team will actually drill down into what those levels of support and services will be. Yeah. I guess we're all really trying to stay in our lane, because it is really going to be a good mix of the educational component and then the clinical component for that recovery piece.
Ms. Futrell.
Oh, thank you, Chair. I love everything about this. The only question I have is, I know later in the slides it said that you all will be building out your enrollment and marketing and all of that. But when you went to the Chesterfield recovery, how was theirs? How was their way of getting the students in?
So they did a little bit of marketing through the schools, and then with the partnerships with their behavioral health partnership, they've been able to get students that way. What I like most about what they do and what they said is that they get the word out, and it's really up to the student to want to be a part of the program. So usually it's the student who's seeking that support, and if the student wants the support when they come in for the intake, then they're willing and they're ready to take them in. It's been a slow build for them, but I guess it appeared that it was a good build, because they took in a small number of students. Just like when we initially opened in August, we're looking at 15 to 17 students. We know that the word isn't going to be out like that, but that gives us or the school an opportunity to build and work their programs and work through any of the kinks, and then continue to grow. And while we don't have a solid number, we're hoping that and within 5 years we have at least 50 students. So we're looking at it like a CSEP. CSEP, each school division has so many seats, so many students that they can have in the program, and it's a regional school, and that's pretty much what we're doing. So we will continue to work on marketing and how we can get that out, as well as build up the student caseload.
Okay, last question I
Yes.
had. Along with that, when we're thinking of enrollment, so of course child-based, the child is saying, yes, I need the help. And so is it the same model as enrolling in school, where the parent now has to come, fill out paperwork, and be in agreement with their child coming to this, or?
So the parent does have to come. The interesting thing about this also is that the parent can want it, but if the student doesn't want it,
That was my next
they will not take the student. So during the intake process, what we learned from Chesterfield is that the parent and the student are invited to the intake meeting, but they bring the student into the room first, and they talk to the student. And if at any time the student says this is not something that they want, because this is a voluntary program, recovery is voluntary or it won't work, then they send the student back to their home school. And so that's the model that we have been discussing, and we intend to follow.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Just to follow up on Board Member Futrell's question, what if it's the reverse? What if it's the student wants it, but the parent will not agree to it?
I will get back to you about that because I don't think we really discussed the reverse because we were really focused on whether or not the student wants that, but I would definitely report back and give you that answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Whitaker?
One quick question, how will it be determined how many slots each district receives?
So there is a formula, and I don't have it with me, but I did share it with Dr. Bracy. But I will make sure that I revisit that and get that information back to you.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Shoemate?
Really quickly, after this meeting, could you get with me, because I have a couple of ideas.
Yes, I can. I know it was a lot of information, but I'm here for it, and I think it's a really good opportunity for our students. We want to make sure that they have somewhere safe to go, and we don't have recovery schools in the area. So if we can come up with a proposal that the board is happy with, I would like to be able to take that back to the team. Okay.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Flowers.
Grandma don't go sit down. Yes.
Agenda item 4.3 is a presentation for the 2024-25 Purple Star School recipients. This is an exciting evening as we publicly acknowledge our schools who have earned the Purple Star School designation.
That's awesome.
The Virginia Department of Education and the Virginia Council on the Interstate Compact on Educational Opportunity for Military Children recognize schools as Purple Star honorees when they have demonstrated their commitment to meeting the needs of military-connected students and their families. As the board knows, schools do this in a number of ways, including by providing resources on issues important to military families, having peer-to-peer transition programs for new students, and for celebrating military-connected events and holidays at the school. For the 2024-25 school year, we are thrilled to highlight the following schools for earning their Purple Star: Brighton Elementary School, Churchland High School, Craddock Elementary School, Douglas Park Elementary School, Park View Elementary School, Waters Middle School, and Waterview Elementary School. We'll give them a round of applause. The Virginia Department of Education has sent the schools their Purple Star medallions and certificates, but we will now present our own certificates to administrators for each of the schools. If you please come forward as your name is called, and Dr. Bracy would meet them at the podium. And following the certificate presentation, we will meet all of you in the hallway for a quick picture. From Brighton Elementary School, Principal Dr. Heather Neal. From Churchland High School, Principal Janelle Burton.
Wonderful. Right, trucker.
From Craddock Elementary School, Principal Lakeisha Jolly Foster. From Douglas Park Elementary, Principal Tanya Fields Hines. From Park View Elementary School, Principal Dr. Kirsten Wynn Inman. From Waters Middle School, Assistant Principal Marita Burton. And from Waterview Elementary School Principal, Ms. Branchling. Let's give them all a hand. In 2019, we as a division did not have one Purple Star school. We now have 15 Purple Star schools. And the goal is by next year to have all schools earn the designation so we can become a Purple Star school division. We want to make sure to thank Norfolk Naval Shipyard School Liaison Officer Melissa Johnson, who has been a great help and support to schools and how we support military-connected students. Unfortunately, she had a prior commitment and could not attend tonight, but we do extend our thanks. Congratulations again to all of our schools. If the principals could meet us in the hall for a quick picture.
We gotta go to. Okay.
I was just
All right.
Tired. You can fit it. You can fit it.
Don't play in my face.
You can fit it.
Don't play in my face.
Oh, you got you pulled. I was just pulling out.
Wow. That's see how close that is?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. So who were these wizards?
So you know Hines did.
Hines did.
She didn't know.
So,
One of these good.
she got the first goal.
You don't, sugar. Where? I'm 5'5", sugar. We about rate what's what?
I am 5'6" and a half. I'm almost 5'7".
I want to see your physical.
Yeah, he's doing a little bit of everything.
That 360 was crazy.
Yeah, time flies too.
But you know, I knew how much you was.
Right. You know, everybody go through their phase. Yeah. Yes.
All right.
It smells good too.
Going into close? Amen.
Closed session. No, you gotta take that.
Oh, no, I was saying we were officially back.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
Just trying to respect. All right, y'all, we're about to enter into closed session. I move that the board enter into a closed meeting under provisions of section 2.23711 of the Code of Virginia for the following purpose: consideration of various personnel matters, including the assignment, performance, and resignation of specific school employees as permitted under subsection A.1. Consultation with legal counsel concerning a legal matter requiring the advice by such counsel as permitted under subsection A.7. Second.
Motion made by Vice Chair Axon, second by Ms. Boone. Is there any discussion? Saying none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Boone?
Yes.
Dr. Cotton?
Yes.
Mrs. Futrell?
Yes.
Mrs. Shoemate?
Yes.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Dr. Patillo?
Yes.
I'm sorry, 8 members present.
Thank you so much. We're now entering into a very brief closed meeting.
Who got a nap?
Got any discussion? Does everyone agree? All right, 6:41.
Yolanda, he said you responsible. Yeah, I heard it. I heard it. He said you responsible. For special committee.
The time was 6:41. And Ms. Boone second the motion from the vice chair. Unanimous. All right. Agenda item 5.1 to 5.4 is consent agenda items. I entertain a motion at this time.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion made by Ms. Boone, second by Ms. Futrell. Is there any discussion? Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Can we get I personally, can we get the purchase order, policy explained again? I have some questions on like the purchase orders. Maybe I'm reading it wrong, but I thought if there was a purchase over 100,000 that we issue out of RFP. So maybe I just need clarity on when we just do a direct purchase order. It's a few.
These are the ones that are 20.
Right. So it was a direct purchase, right? These are direct purchases.
No, these are the purchase orders that were encumbered as of 6/30 that are still outstanding as of October 31st. So by school board policy, we have to get school board approval for those purchase orders to remain open past the 120 days to be liquidated and final completed. So these all went through the procurement process last year as of 6/30, and they're just still open because those projects haven't completed yet.
Gotcha. So these were, so for example, the White Fleet, that was the original White Fleet contract that we approved last year. This is just a purchase that
Yes,
was made
ma'am.
through that company.
Right.
That's what I wanted to clear up.
Right.
Okay.
So any contracts that we have currently, these purchases would have gone through our current contracts, and then, but they're just outstanding as of October.
Okay, that makes sense. That's what I wanted to be clear on. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mrs. Boone?
Yes.
Dr. Cotton?
Yes.
Mrs. Futrell?
Yes.
Ms. Schumate?
Yes.
Mrs. Thomas?
Yes.
Dr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Dr. Patillo?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you so much. Agenda item 6.1, board member comments or concerns, if you have any.
Regarding our dual language immersion, I went to ask Dr. DeVries. I talked to a parent whose child is in the program, and they had a question about kind of like next steps. And can we maybe consider another, for the kids already enrolled, having like a follow-up informational session or something for them? Okay, definitely. All right, thank you.
I got a small one.
All right.
I have one.
Ms. Schumate.
Every year I do a trip with the JV and varsity basketball team to Norfolk State University. This year will be December 9th. So I will be reaching out to the coaches as well as the athletic directors so that I can get a good count of who's going this year. So for all of the parents out there, if you want your child to go, please make sure that you let me know as well as the coach know. We take care of transportation. I do not feed the children, although I have before. I do not feed the children, but the tickets are free, and if the parents would like to come, I just need the parents' information as well. So that will be on December 9th at Norfolk State University in Eccles Hall.
Transportation already has that and they'll work on
I
it.
was just saying I'm not feeding the babies. Yeah, because they got me 1 year, so, yeah.
We don't have no more meetings this month, y'all, just in case.
And Ms.
I know,
Thomas.
another
Yeah,
thing
no
for
more
Dr.
meetings.
DeVries, I forgot for CNI, and please clarify if this is wrong, but for our SAT prep for high schoolers, it still does not start until their junior year. Is that correct?
I'll check on that. but I
Okay,
believe that's-
and if it is correct, is there a possibility that I know some other school districts start sophomore year, offering that opportunity so that so kids can actually be prepared to take the SAT, ACT their junior year to get it out the way.
Yep, I'll check on that, and I do know that we have, our high schools have access to like online SAT prep courses that are probably open to all of our students, so we'll make sure we make that widely known.
I heard that's not the case, so that's why I wanted to check. Okay, thank you.
It is. It's on College Board.
No, I mean that they couldn't take it that they couldn't get the invite to enroll in it until their junior year.
No, they could take it. Mine
So-
did. Okay.
Yeah,
Check with the access advisor in the school.
they checked with their guidance counselor, but I was told it wasn't available for some.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, do we have any other board member comments?
Question, Chair. So I'm not sure, I think maybe a Dr. Bracy question, but when we are bringing over our international teachers and they're coming over to teach, is it set up that we are providing the housing and all of that, or are we just providing the employment and they go on from there to set up their own housing?
We provide the employment.
Okay.
And we work primarily right now with 2 separate agencies, and each one has a different format of how they work with their teachers. But they usually work with the teachers to try to help them find housing, as well as we communicate with them to try to make sure that their first steps is to go to get their Social Security card.
Right.
So we coordinate that with them. But as far as housing, they take care of that.
Okay, that's not us.
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any movement on the CTE building plans?
Yes, well, with the CTE, we are, December 10th is the deadline for all the bids to come back in.
Okay.
So it's moving, it's already out, so we're just waiting on the 10th to get everything back. Initially, we heard the December 10th, and we were thinking that it was going to start then, but no, December 10th is the deadline for all the bids to come in.
That just reminded me, Dr. Bracy, any update on the TCC the situation from our last meeting with the student, with the virtual teacher?
Yes.
Yeah, so I did speak with the parent personally, and he kind of conveyed the same concerns that we heard at the school board meeting. I made sure I made him aware of the steps we had taken as soon as we got the first email that there was a potential concern. So we've been working with TCC. They extended, there were a number of students who had zeros on assignments. So we worked with TCC, and they agreed to extend the deadline by a week because the semester was actually ending, the course was ending essentially. So with that said, there was a communication that went out to the students and parents that if they had a zero, that would, they'd have an additional week to complete those assignments, but then it was closed after that. And then for English 112, which started this week, I believe, one of our internal program specialists, Ms. Mungo, she is certified to teach dual enrollment, and she's going to teach the class asynchronously instead of having in TCC. She's the one who was going in twice a week to meet with students anyway, so she'll continue with that. So we're sure that we have the proper communication in place to make sure that parents and students know exactly where they stand. The other thing we did was, since it is an asynchronous class, we offered a parent Zoom meeting to explain at the start of the course what the expectations are, on our part and on their part, and what to expect from the course, and that it is asynchronous, and what does that mean. So they held that this past week as well.
So how do they feel TCC as far as like some type of reimbursement? Was that mentioned, or they was like, no?
No, and we also don't, our students don't pay for those courses.
Okay, gotcha.
So, yeah, so I think
But PPS pays for
we
it.
pay for those courses.
Well, actually,
Well,
this year we don't.
Right.
No.
That's true.
There was some type of grant or something that TCC received.
Okay.
So we're not paying for any of the dual enrollment classes at TCC
Yeah.
for this current fiscal year.
Surprise.
Fortunately,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yes, yes.
Because we generally would.
Right.
And I guess the last question is, did that impact any of our students, being that they only had a week to complete those assignments? Was there any feedback as far as like strain?
I mean, I didn't get any.
I know you're one of them, right? You're one of them.
Your question, sure.
When was that? When that happened for us?
Well, you were at Norcom?
Yes.
So this was at Manor High School, because we didn't, so that was one of the things that I had, specifically asked, of course, my director and our coordinator over dual enrollment is, have we heard any concerns outside of Manor High School? Because Churchland High School does have an in-person instructor on staff, but Norcom High School is also being held asynchronously, and we had not heard any concerns from that, and nor concerns about grades. So there was nothing.
I've heard concerns.
It didn't get to me, but I could look into that certainly and see what's going on. Are you? And let me just ask you a quick question, and then we can talk after. Is your 112 class being held asynchronously?
Yes. It's Miss Mungo has come in and she has spoken to us, but our professor is Dr. Melanie Williams. But it just started this week, like you said, but I know some people were concerned about 111, and our grades still aren't in SIS, and they were supposed to be in SIS on Friday. She said she has some training to do with that, but I know some people who have spoken to Ms. Efat and Ms. Flowers and Dr. Davis about the fact that they had zeros or stuff in 111, and how that impacted 112, and how that impacted their English requirements and stuff like that.
So I do have based on your feedback, of course the student and the parent at Manor spoke up, but if there was no reach out from us just to check on the status of the other high schoolers, that's a bit concerning, because maybe they just didn't have anyone, they didn't know that there was a similar concern, but I think we should address it between all the schools that, have that course with TCC.
I'll check on that as well.
Yes, just specifically the English one, because my son was going to take it, but everybody who took it before warned him not to, because his GPA was going to decrease because of the same issue. So it is an issue that we probably need to address sooner rather than later.
So one more. So with that course, if students' grades have been impacted, what are we going to do?
We haven't gotten that far yet.
Okay.
I'll talk about it with Dr. Bracy, and we'll see if we can, because they're not, but they are PPS students, and so we keep trying to talk with TCC about the fact that they are PPS students in addition to TCC students. So we don't often have access to their grades until it's way too late. So that's something I'm working on as well, is that we need access to their grades well in advance of every 3 or 4 weeks. Like we need to be keeping track of those, because they are high school students. So there are a number of things that we are have brought up to TCC that we need to address with them.
Just one last thing, because to transfer the course to college, it's usually like a C or better. So if they've been impacted, they're not going to be able to transfer.
Right.
Agreed.
Any other comments or concerns? All right, thank you all for joining us this evening, and we don't have another meeting this month, so happy Thanksgiving to everyone, and we'll see you in December.
Yes.